15 goes smoother than 12. When I look here at number 13, I can factor out x. I'm left with 3x squared minus 1x minus 10. Keep in mind, it looks like I probably will have 3 different solutions. I'm going to first focus on this trinomial, so I'm going to come off to the side. What multiplies to give us negative 30 and combines to give us a negative 1? That would be negative 6 and positive 5. Multiplies and combines. 3x squared minus 10. Okay, so minus 6x and plus 5x. I'm underlining the first 2. I can factor out a 3x, and I'd be left with x minus 2. Let's make sure I didn't make any mistakes. Perfect. X minus 2. Now, what times x equals negative 6x? That's the quantity negative 6. And negative 6 times negative 2 is, let's make sure I did this right here. Let's make sure I did this right here. I meant to put a negative 5. Am I not making a lot of mistakes? I circled the wrong one. Negative 5 times x, positive 5 times x is positive 5x, and positive 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Okay, I'm just making a lot of simple mistakes right now, so I'm just going back and checking really quickly. All of that works. X minus 2 is one quantity, and 3x plus 5 is the other. But don't forget, we factored out an x right away. We factored out an x, so keep that in mind. We're looking at 3 different solutions. I'm going to set each one of these equal to 0, and I'm going to solve. So the first one is x equals 0. That's one solution. Then I have x minus 2 equals 0. When I add 2 to the other side, I get x equals 2. That's a second solution. 3x plus 5 equals 0. I subtract 5 to the opposite side first and divide by 3 to get x equals negative 5/3. So I have 3 solutions, and now let me draw a number line. Let me find a nice area here where I can do that. Okay, so I have my number line, and my smallest number is the negative number of negative 5/3, and then I have 0, and then I have 2. Let me move this up. Okay, so we can see up here we have a less than or equals to. For that reason, I'm going to do closed dots at each of these points. I choose any number over here, and if you're like, well, what is that number? Well, type it in. Negative 5 divided by 3 is negative 1.66. Negative 1.66 approximately. Okay, so anything over here like negative 2 would work. I come up to this original statement, and I'm going to plug this in. So I have 3 times the quantity, negative 2 to the 3rd power, subtract in parentheses negative 2 squared minus 10 times negative 2. Okay, I want to know, is that less than or equal to 0? Negative 8. Negative 8 is in fact less than 0. Negative 8, because I plugged in a number to the left, so I get to shade this in. Now I choose any number between negative 1.6 and 0. So what number is in between? It could be like negative 0.5, or it could even be like negative 1. This is where negative 1 would be. I'm going to try negative 1. So I have 3 times quantity negative 1 to the 3rd, subtract negative 1 squared minus 10 times negative 1. I get an answer of 6. Is 6 less than 0? Less than or equal to 0? 6 isn't less than 0. Since 6 is not less than 0, I leave this blank. Okay, let's go on to the next region. What's in between 0 and 2? I'm going to choose 1. I tried negative 1 last time. Now I'm going to choose positive 1. Okay, positive 1. So I have 3 times 1 to the 3rd minus 1 squared, subtract 10 times 1. I get an answer of negative 8. Is negative 8 less than or equal to 0? Yeah, negative 8 is in fact less than 0. I shade this region. I choose any number to the right, like positive 3. 3 times 3 to the 3rd, subtract 3 squared, subtract 10 times 3. And I get an answer of 42. Is 42 less than or equal to 0? No. This would illustrate the solution set to number 13. Let's look at number 14. Okay, again, I can factor out an x, and I'm left with x squared minus 6x plus 9. Okay, so I know this is one answer. Let's go ahead and factor this. What multiplies to give us 9 and combines to give us negative 6? Be negative 3 and negative 3. So x minus 3, x minus 3. So this is a double, by the way, and I know that there is a trick to learning to double. I forgot what it is, so I know I can go ahead still and get the right answer. Let me move this paper where we can see a blank spot for us to move forward. Okay, so I know that I can set this equal to 0, and one answer is 0. Set this equal to 0 and solve, and another answer is 3. Again, you set this equal to 0 and solve, you still get an answer of 3. So 0 is smaller than 3, so 0 is on the left, 3 is on the right. Because we have a line underneath, they both get shaded. And now I'm going to try the different areas. I'm going to try any negative number any to the left of 0. And so I'm going to plug it in here. So I'm going to try like negative 2. Negative 2 to the third minus 6 times negative 2 squared plus 9 times negative 2. Is negative 2 greater than 0? My output was negative 2. Is negative 2 greater than 0? It's not a true statement, so I don't shade here. Now let's choose in between. So in between 0 and 3 is like 1. All right, 1 to the third, subtract 6 times 1 squared, plus 9 times 1. I get an answer of 4. Is 4 greater than 0? It sure is, so I shade here. And now I choose any number to the right of 3, like 4 or 5. Let's try 5. 5 to the third minus 6 times 5 squared plus 9 times 5. 20. Is 20 greater than 0? It sure is. So on the answer sheet, you only see 0 and to the right, but you're welcome to put 3 here since that is one of our solutions, and it shades in. Okay, so we include 0 and anything to the right. Let's look at number 15. Okay, number 15, I move everything to the same side. So I have x to the fourth plus 8x squared minus, and let's move this over, minus 6x to the third. Now there's nothing left, so it is greater than 0. So I just moved the 6x cubed over to the left. Now I'm going to put them in standard form. So x to the fourth minus 6x to the third plus 8x squared is greater than 0. I can factor out an x squared, and I'm left with x squared minus 6x plus 8. And I'm tired. Let's make sure I'm not making any small mistakes again. Okay, that all looks good. I'm going to factor this trinomial. What multiplies to equal positive 8 combines to give you a negative 6. That'd be negative 4 and negative 6. So x minus 4, x minus 2, again multiplies and combines, and this is an x squared. I'm going to take each one of these quantities and set it equal to 0. So x squared equals 0. That's 1 times. That means I'm going to have 2 answers, but there's no such thing as plus or minus 0. There's only 0. So that's one of the points. And then I'm going to take x minus 4, set equal to 0. Another one is 4. And x minus 2, set equal to 0. And another one is 2. So I'm going to graph 0, 2, and 4 next. Let me move this paper again. All right, so I got 0, 2, and 4. And let's choose any number to the left. Now, remember, there's no line underneath, so these are open circles. So any number to the left of 0 is like negative 2. Okay, I'm going to plug it into this quantity. So I'm going to start with negative 2, any number to the left. So I have negative 2 to the 4th power. Oops. The way I plug this in matters. So I have to do negative 2 and then to the 4th. Okay, I need to do this individually, and that's why before these calculators are a little bit older. When we look at ours, we can actually see the exponent on it. It's not quite as nice here. So I'm going to do this individually and then piece it together so I know I don't make any mistakes. I'm choosing the number over here of negative 2. So I'm plugging it in here. I have negative 2 raised to the 4th, okay, plus 8 times negative 2 squared, okay, that's good, minus 3, so I subtract 3 times negative 2 to the 3rd. Okay, the quantity I got was 96. Is 96 greater than 0? It sure is. So I'm going to shade over here. I'm not shading at 0. Now I choose any number in between, like 1. Let's go again. 1 to the 4th plus 8 times 1 squared minus 6 times 1 to the third. I get an answer of 3. Is 3 greater than 0? It is. I shade in between, but don't say shade at 0. 0, it says, is not a solution. These are not solutions. There's not a line underneath. Now let's choose a number between, like 3. 3 to the fourth plus 8 times 3 squared minus 6 times 3 to the third. Negative 9. Is negative 9 greater than 0? Not a true statement. Leave this blank. Let's try anything to the right of 4, like 5. 5 to the fourth plus 8 times 5 squared minus 6 times 5 to the third. Is 75 greater than 0? It is. So these are the solutions I have. So this is shaded, open, shaded, open, open, and shaded. Remember, shaded is what is considered, we could take any point from that shaded region. It's considered to be part of the solution set. We plug it in, and this statement would make sense. Let's go on to our last 3.